Morning, good morning. Getting some things set up here. Love getting the technology all working before I actually get started in the show. If you are joining in, say hello. Um, Monitors going. I can see all of the various networks that that one. All righty, I think we're getting close to being done. Ready to kick off. If you're joining, I'm getting a few things set up, and so you get to watch me organize things. Um, all right, I think we are ready to get started. Got the all of that around. So, welcome to Morning Motivation. So I'm Dan Gentry, your host. Today we are talking about fear of change. And that's something that I've experienced so many times in my life where I know that I need to change. I've got things in my life that aren't working the way that I want them to. And I'll like start to make a change. I will, try to buy a program or buy a book or something to work on making the change that I need, whether it's physically or something I'm dealing with emotionally or in my life. And usually you will get to a point where you're starting to make a change and then you kind of like you go back a little bit, right? And so there are a couple of quotes that I absolutely love. Um, that's it always seems impossible until it's done, right? So change is always something there. But the other one is change is inevitable, except from a vending machine, right? That's one of my favorites. If you've heard me talk about change, you've probably heard me say that one. And anyway, so fear of change. How do we, what's going on there, right? And what it really boils down to is we're moving into the unknown. We're moving out of our comfort zone, right? By definition, our comfort zone is where there's not any type of scary change, right? It's status quo. It's everything's even, everything's okay, right? We're not going out there into the scary world. We're not going out past our boundaries. We're staying here where it's nice and warm and safe, right? Change. doesn't let you do that. You literally, that's kind of the definition. You've got to get out of your comfort zone to make a change. And that's where unknown happens. That's where it's we're not sure of what's going to happen and it might be worse than where we are, right? And we have this unnatural fear. It's resistance to change. It's where we don't want to move anymore. And I've done that so many times in my life, right? Where I I stop. I get scared and I run away. Go back inside the comfort zone, right? And the reality is that in order for us to make the difference that we want to make in the world, change is necessary, right? And so, how do we do that? How do we create change and be okay with it, right? How do we do that? And the for me, it comes down to the first. I know this will be a surprise for you. Is having a clear purpose, having your personal purpose. This is why I need to make the change, right? If we're just sitting at home and it's just us and we don't really want to do anything, we're not gonna. But when we know that we need to make this change for our lives, right? You know, what is it? I remember hearing that so many people, they want to have a healthier life. They want to eat better, right? And I think it was Tim Ferriss that was talking about how the stick rate on people who actually stay on their diets because they want a beach bod is abysmal, right? That people who just want to change to look better, yeah, it's like 10% or something that actually stick to a diet regimen. For those that go to the doctor and find out they have a terminal disease, and if they don't change their eating habits, they are going to die, the stick rate's amazing, right? Because in that scenario, they have a very clear personal purpose to stay alive, right? Well, here's what I'm telling you. You need to have that same level of commitment to your personal purpose that's not just staying alive, right? It's what do I want to make a change in the world, right? For me, I'm trying to change generational habits and make Cats in the Cradle just a song and not a story about anybody and change people's lives, right? That's huge, right? It pulls me forward doing uncomfortable things like going live on multiple social media platforms. Ah, right? The introvert. Dan, I know if you know me, you're probably laughing at the introvert thing. I really am. I'm a huge introvert. This is outside my comfort zone, right? So I'm feeling that fear of change right now, right? But I have that clear personal purpose that's pulling me forward out of my comfort zone because I have to do it in order to make the change that I want. So, step number one, get a clear personal purpose that will help you through the fear of change that is absolutely natural. It'll help pull you through resistance, right? The War of Art, great book. Um, so the next, right? So get a clear personal purpose. The next is use the Atomic Triad, the things that I talk about, the foundation, framework, manifestation, right? That pattern will help you understand how you need to make the change, right? It breaks it down into so that it's manageable. So it's not this, you know, was it trying to eat the elephant? It's one little thing at a time. I still haven't figured out why somebody wants to eat an elephant, but that's a whole different conversation. So take the things that you want to do, break it down into what's my foundation piece? What do I need to do, right? In life balance, it's self mastery. It's getting the master of myself. If it's you're trying to work on your health, what are my foundational things I need to do? I need to have the plan. I need to know what to eat. Right? and then break that down. And so it's very simple because the human mind is weird, right? We do one, two, three, many is the way our brain works. And so if you can break things down where it's a simple, I just need to do this one thing today and keep building on that. It's baby steps out of the comfort zone, right? Um, the next thing I would tell you is positive self talk, right? Is we beat up on ourselves so much, right? Things that we tell ourselves, things that if anybody else, if anyone else, loved one, whoever, were to say those things to us, there'd be a battle, right? There'd be throwing hands, right? And yet we can sit there and go, you're just you're fat and lazy and all of these really horrible things. And good morning, Dawn. Good to see you. Um, and so it's like, be nice to yourself. Be nice to yourself. It's listen to what you're saying to yourself on a continuous basis, right? What's that self-talk going on in there? And change the script, right? Positive self-talk. Look at yourself in the mirror, look yourself in the eyes and say, I am capable of change and I am going to make this change because it's good for me, right? And I can do this. I may not have the whole plan worked out, but I can take the next step. I am powerful. Even if you don't feel it, right? The subconscious mind does not know the difference between something we vividly imagine and something that has actually happened. So if you will sit there and the positive self-talk and do that, it will make a difference. It will help start to change that internal voice, right? The next is take imperfect action, right? Just do it. you know one of the one of my personal failings is I want everything to be perfect, right? I want to do it. I want it to look professional. I want it to be amazing, right? Here's the reality. It's going to suck at first. You're not going to be good at whatever change you're going to make. That's the reality. We have to be terrible before we can get good, right? The whole idea that people are born that are able to just, go, no, not really. Everybody is terrible at something the very first time, right? Um, especially if it's something worth doing. That's the reality that it takes time to do something, and we have to be willing to be terrible at something in order to get good. And, you know, give yourself the grace. And I give you permission, right? If you need it, if you need external validation, I give you permission to suck at something. Right? It's just start, just do it, be bad, and then you will slowly get better. Fair enough? All right. So hopefully this has given you a little bit of help, right? Change is scary, but it's necessary. You know, it's absolutely necessary. So change, doing what we need to do, getting where we need to go, that's how we live our lives to the third power. And, I would love to hear the stories where you've had challenges with change and how you got through it. Or if you're stuck there, right? Let's talk. Maybe I can help. But I appreciate you for listening in. Have a great rest of your day and keep living your life to the third power. Till tomorrow, my friends.